Alright, so now I'm looking at my weapons. I have grade 5 mods on my lasers and my multi-cannons. They're not fixed, they're gimbaled. That's a bug in beta. They're actually gimbaled, but it shows up here as fixed for some reason. So the mod that I have right on there now is grade 5 efficient. You can see what the numbers are here. Mainly looking at the thermal load, the distributor draw as well, and you can see that there's a bump to DPS as well. I think this mass was a secondary. So let's take a look at converting that over to the new engineering system. "3C", that's what I want to do. Convert it. And we're looking at efficient. Okay, so those are the possible numbers. So let's get that up. Looks like I got plenty of mass to get this up to high level grade 5. So let's do that. Did I click the right one? Efficient weapon. Yeah, efficient. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. Power draw. DPS up 17%. Is that right? Okay, well, I guess we'll look. Again, maybe a couple more times. One more time. Got lots of mats. Alright, so that's damn near max. 305 versus 304, that's a bug. Yeah, that's at max. So let's take a look at where it is right now before I do an experimental. Oops. Alright, so there's no mass hit that there used to be. Integrity, there was a bump to that. That must have been experimental. That's not there anymore. Power draw used to be minus 30%. Now it's minus 40%. So that's a 10% extra. Good deal on the power draw. DPS is up 17%. Before it was up 7%. So that's a big change. Distributed draw was minus 32%, so that's about the same, and thermal load minus 60. It was minus 65%. So as far as the thermal load goes, that's the only place I took a hit. But the DPS is up quite a bit, more than double the increase that I had before. I mean, we're only talking about 20 versus 23, but hey. So okay, now let's take a look at the experimental. So this worked out. I think this is better. I lost out a little bit on the thermal load, but the distributor draw is a little bit better, and the DPS is a lot better. So I'll take that trade. So now let's look at the experimentals for it. And we'll see if I have the mats for it. Wow, there's a lot of them. Okay. Don't care about mass. 3% on DPS. Another 10% less in the power draw. I don't care about integrity. Don't care about, I'm not going to do that. Thermal shock, I do most of the work with this ship against NPCs, so that doesn't really do me a lot of good. Thermal vent, I don't really need that. I mean, that's the point of the mod that I did. Another hit to do this? No. And I don't usually get that hot when I'm firing, and my understanding from before is you have to be way in the upper band of your ship's heat before this actually makes any difference. So I mean, if you're constantly overheating, yeah, that helps, but that's not me. So these mods, these experimentals don't really do me much good. I normally run out of power distributor before I overheat when I'm firing these 3 lasers, so I'm not going to do that, not going to do that. I don't care about integrity. Looks like flow control, even more of a benefit for power draw. I was minus 30%. Forget what it went up to, but it's another 10% on the power draw. I might, 3% DPS mass. So it's either flow control or oversized. Either way, I need mechanical scrap, and I guess I need MEF as well. So I don't know. I'll have to think about which one of these I want to do, and I'll go get the mats for it. Then I'll come back and do it and see what the results are. Alright, so I'm back at the dweller with the mat that I needed to do that experimental. So let's throw that on there. I had the grade 5 efficient weapon. The DPS is what's going to go up to about 24.5, I think it said. And the distributor draw is going to go down, I think. Yeah, so 24.5, so that's about a 1 DPS increase, a little bit less. Then my power draw will go up another 5%, but this ship has 5 megawatts of extra space, so that's not an issue. So let me add that. Alright, so with the experimental, let's take a look at how it compares to the original. Mass and integrity aren't affected. The power was minus 30%, now it's minus 36%. DPS was 7.5, now it's plus 20.5, so that's triple the DPS increase. Sounds like a lot, but I mean, you're talking about 20 to 24, so distributor draw was minus 32%, now it's minus 35, so that's better. And the thermal load was minus 65%, now it's minus 60%. So I did lose out on one of the key parameters for an efficient weapon, which is the thermal load. So a little bit of give and take there, but I'll take that extra DPS in exchange for that thermal load. So would I do this in live? Yeah, I think I would. I'll take the extra DPS for a little bit less of a reduction in thermal load. Because this ship isn't, like I said, this ship doesn't bump up against the heat limits when I'm firing the lasers. So that's it for the beam laser.